Continuing from the last chapter, Lin Dong took a Nirvana stage expert from the demonic rock dynasty as a hostage and went to demonic rock city, demanding a ransom of 1 million Nirvana pills. The once bustling city wall now fell into a deathly silence, the air seemingly filled with a creeping chill that made people involuntarily shiver. Xian stood midair, his sinister gaze locked onto Lin Dong. His eyes were sharp and calculating, scrutinizing Lin Dong inch by inch as if trying to see through him completely. Yet, despite Xian's cold, piercing stare, Lin Dong didn't even bother to lift his gaze. He merely smiled faintly and said, "What's the matter? Is the demonic rock dynasty unwilling to part with 1 million Nirvana pills to save Lei Shi and the others?" Lin Dong, always leave a way out in your actions so we might meet again in the future. There are some people you cannot afford to offend. Don't plant the seeds of your own downfall, or it might be too late when regret sets in. Xian's voice was icy as he warned. Lin Dong shrugged, raising his hand. Instantly, Little Yan's massive snake tail swung out, and tied securely to it were 9 figures. Lei Shi and his companions. "I'll give you 10 breaths. If I don't see the Nirvana pills by then, I'll kill them all," Lin Dong said calmly, as if discussing the most trivial matter. Yet this very calmness caused Xian's pupils to contract slightly. The city wall remained in dead silence. Many felt their palms sweating as they stared strangely at the distant figure. They couldn't fathom how this man could remain so composed even when facing a powerful foe like Xian. Was he merely pretending? "Lin Dong, I acknowledge you have some talent. If you release Lei Shi and the others voluntarily, I can forget our past grudges and invite you to become a guest official of the demonic rock dynasty, offering you generous rewards." Xian's sinister gaze flickered slightly before he spoke again in a deep voice. Lin Dong glanced at him, then smiled. However, just when Xian thought he had softened, Lin Dong's indifferent voice followed. "Time's up. It seems you don't care if the demonic rock dynasty loses these people." As his words fell, Lin Dong's mind stirred, and his powerful spiritual energy condensed into 9 sharp spears in front of him. With a swift flick of his sleeve, the spears shot out mercilessly toward Lei Shi and the others. As the spiritual spears flew, a murderous intent surged in Lin Dong's eyes, leaving no doubt that he was ready to strike for real. Xian's face darkened as he watched this unfold, his fists clenching tightly. He stared at the oncoming spiritual spears, and at the last moment he finally shouted, "You win." The sharp spears stopped abruptly, just a yard away from Lei Shi and his companions, and then dissolved into nothingness. Lin Dong extended his hand toward Xian. "Hand it over." Xian's chest heaved slightly, clearly struggling to suppress the mounting fury within him. He glared at Lin Dong with a cold gaze, took a deep breath, and hissed, "One hand for the pills, one hand for the people." As he spoke, he clenched his hand, and a cosmic bag appeared in his grasp. The bag's opening was slightly ajar, and a flame-like Nirvana aura immediately rushed out. Judging by this display, the number of Nirvana pills inside was truly staggering. Even Xian's eyes flickered with a hint of pain as he looked at the thick Nirvana aura. 1 million Nirvana pills were no small number, even for the demonic rock dynasty. It was enough to hurt their foundations. However, they had no choice. They had invested heavily in nurturing Lei Shi and Chunmu, especially Lei Shi. Although he failed his Nirvana tribulation, this experience would increase his chances of success next time. Losing such a promising seed would be a devastating blow to the dynasty. Lin Dong narrowed his eyes as he gazed at the cosmic bag. With his keen senses, just feeling the Nirvana aura seeping out was enough to estimate the number of Nirvana pills within. He nodded slightly in his cold, detached manner. Lin Dong and Xian exchanged glances, then simultaneously flicked their hands. The cosmic bag and Lei Shi's group were thrown out almost at the exact same moment. Lin Dong had a clever technique when tossing them out. Each person was thrown with a distinct force, causing them to scatter in all directions like blossoms in the wind. Moreover, with Lei Shi and the others currently unconscious and weak. If they were left to fall, even if they didn't die, they'd likely break some limbs. This tactic forced Shi Xian to delay his rescue efforts. Just as Shi Xian reached out to catch Lei Shi and the others, the cosmic bag appeared before Lin Dong. However, cautious as ever, he didn't immediately grab it. Instead, he extended his spiritual energy, probing into the bag at lightning speed. Only after confirming there was nothing suspicious inside did he wave his sleeve and store it away. Many thanks for the hospitality of the demonic rock dynasty. If fate allows, let's have a good chat again in the future. With the Nirvana pills in hand, Lin Dong burst out in laughter. Little Yin immediately flapped his wings and shot off like lightning toward the distance. By now, Shi Xian had caught all his people and, with a wave of his sleeve, flung them harshly onto the city wall. They hit with a series of thuds, clearly revealing his simmering anger toward Lei Shi and the others. If they were ordinary folks, he might have killed them himself on the spot. Kid, do you really think our demonic rock dynasty's Nirvana pills are so easily taken? If I let you leave today, how could I, Shi Xian, still have any standing in demonic rock city? Shi Xian's face was gloomy as he stared at Lin Dong speeding away. His eyes flashed with a red gleam, his face contorting slightly with rage. It was clear that Lin Dong had truly infuriated him today. Almost as if to affirm Shi Xian's words, just as Lin Dong was about to make a swift escape, beams of formidable primordial energy suddenly shot up behind him. They quickly transformed into a vast curtain of light, sealing the entire area like a prison. Within the light curtain, violent waves of primordial energy surged. One could vaguely see powerful figures standing where the energy beams had risen. Clearly, to stop Lin Dong for good this time, Shi Xian had pulled out all the stops, mobilizing most of the dynasty's elites to form this massive formation. Even for someone like him, breaking out of this formation would be an extremely challenging task. On the city wall, countless people watched the rising light curtain formation, their hearts trembling slightly. It seemed today's affair wouldn't end easily. In the distance, Lin Dong also signaled Little Yin to stop. As he gazed at the imposing formation, a look of surprise flickered in his eyes. It appeared the demonic rock dynasty held him in high regard, going so far as to deploy the power of an entire dynasty to trap him. I warned you earlier, always leave a way out. With your capabilities, trying to snatch something from the demonic rock dynasty's mouth is nothing short of naive. As Lin Dong slowly turned around, Shi Xian was already gliding through the air, stopping not far from him. A sinister smile hung at the corner of his lips. I gave you a chance, but unfortunately, you didn't seize it. Now, you've lost your last opportunity. Dazzling golden light emanated from Shi Xian with each step he took, a powerful sense of oppression spreading out as if even the air had frozen. The fury in Shi Xian's heart had clearly reached a boiling point, and the moment his voice fell, his gaze turned icy cold. With a single step, the air in front of him exploded, and his figure vanished like a ghost. Watching Shi Xian's disappearing figure, Lin Dong's pupils contracted. He swiftly turned around, crossing his arms as golden light surged. In the blink of an eye, his arms seemed to be forged from solid gold. A golden fist shadow suddenly tore through the air and struck fiercely against Lin Dong's crossed arms. A terrifying force erupted immediately, blasting Lin Dong off Little Yan's back. He staggered in midair, taking over a dozen steps before steadying himself. He felt a sharp pain in his arms, and a serious expression flashed in his eyes. If his minor Nirvana golden body hadn't reached great completion, that punch alone from Shi Xian might have shattered his arms. Nirvana golden body? Shi Xian's figure reappeared in midair, his eyes slightly widened in surprise as he looked at Lin Dong's arms, which seemed to be cast from pure gold. He was well aware that this was a mark unique to Nirvana stage experts. Yet, judging by Lin Dong's primordial energy fluctuations, he was at most at the half-step Nirvana stage. How could he have cultivated the Nirvana golden body to such a degree? No wonder you dare to be so arrogant. You do have some skill. But today, in front of my demonic rock dynasty, even if you were a dragon, you'd have to bow down to me. Shi Xian's surprise lasted only a moment before it was replaced by a cold, sinister glint in his eyes. He gently twisted his neck, and the bones in his body seemed to creak and groan. A burst of explosive power surged through his muscles, causing the air around him to tremble. Lin Dong exhaled deeply, shaking his slightly numb arms. Yet, there was a fiery smile on his face. First Nirvana stage, is it? If you want to keep me here, we'll see if you have the skill to back it up. On the city wall, the crowd heard the exchange between the two, and their gazes heated up. They were eager to see who would come out on top when these two notorious figures clashed. High above in the sky, the two figures stood facing each other, the atmosphere tense and taut, with a faint killing intent quietly spreading. Many eyes on the city wall were also filled with excitement. Both men were well known in this northwest region. Shi Xian had earned his fame early, and with the strength of the first Nirvana stage, he could easily stand above many of the elite of the high-ranking dynasties. Combined with the backing of the demonic rock dynasty, everyone knew him to be a force to reckon with. Lin Dong, on the other hand, had risen to prominence recently, often acting alone, likely from a smaller dynasty. Yet, this did not diminish the shock people felt at the events he had caused. After all, it was rare in the northwest region for someone to challenge an entire dynasty single-handedly. The confrontation between these two notorious figures was undoubtedly captivating. People were eager to see who would emerge victorious. I've seen many like you, Shi Xian sneered coldly, his gaze sweeping around Lin Dong as he searched for a weakness. Fortune favors you, and your strength skyrockets, making you think you're invincible, disregarding everyone. But of such people, perhaps only 1 in 10 ever truly survives. In my eyes, you're just another one of them. But unfortunately for you, you won't be the one to survive. The foundation of a high-ranking dynasty isn't something a mere upstart like you can match. Lin Dong merely smiled, not interested in engaging in a war of words with Shi Xian. While the foundation of a high-ranking dynasty was indeed formidable, it didn't guarantee everything. A strong foundation could give a higher starting point, but future achievements could only be earned through one's own efforts. However, it was precisely Lin Dong's calm, indifferent smile that caused Shi Xian's fists to clench involuntarily. A malevolent fire burned in his heart. When others mentioned the demonic rock dynasty, it was always with great reverence. Yet this guy before him showed no regard whatsoever. Was it ignorance or an overinflated sense of confidence? Crack! As Shi Xian clenched his fists, brilliant golden light began to flow over his body's surface. Waves of tremendous primordial energy rippled out like a storm, sweeping across the area. Let's see if you can keep smiling after this. Shi Xian's hand seals changed, and a surge of overwhelming primordial energy roared forth, even causing the energy of heaven and earth to swirl around him. Waves of intense light burst forth, and moments later, they condensed into a massive mountain in the sky. At the peak of this mountain, a giant talisman exuded an astonishing aura. The mountain stretched across the sky, and one could vaguely sense the fierce power emanating from it, causing the very heavens to shudder under its weight. Devil Seal, mountain-suppressing fist. Shi Xian's face was cold as he punched downward. The colossal mountain, casting a vast shadow, came crashing down toward Lin Dong, its powerful force causing the ground below to crack and collapse. This strike from Shi Xian showcased the true might of a first Nirvana stage expert. His ability to shape primordial energy into a physical form far surpassed that of Lei Shi and his ilk. Such power was enough to utterly crush a Nirvana expert like Qin Mu. As the enormous mountain, laden with shadow and pressure, descended upon him, a serious expression surfaced in Lin Dong's eyes. He took a deep breath, flipped his hand, and an ancient lotus seed appeared in his palm. It was the spirit containment lotus seed. A surge of dense primordial energy and powerful spiritual force erupted simultaneously, flooding continuously into the lotus seed. As the two forces poured in, a massive beam of light suddenly shot up from the lotus seed, its unique essence energy causing the surrounding world's primordial energy to boil instantly. "This power," Shi Xian murmured, slightly shaken as he gazed at the chaotic-colored beam of light. His expression changed. He could sense that this energy, which was entirely different from both primordial energy and spiritual force, was remarkably potent. This guy, he can merge two different types of energy? Shi Xian's sharp eyes quickly discerned the essence of what was happening. His heart churned with disbelief. He knew well the difficulty of merging different energies. Even if he were to undergo several more nirvana tribulations, he doubted he could reach this level. It was said that the technique of merging different energies was not something a nirvana stage expert could master. Yet here, Lin Dong's actions had stunned him greatly. "It's because of that Lotus seed." Despite his shock, Shi Xian quickly regained his composure. His gaze shifted and locked onto the ancient Lotus seed before Lin Dong. The chaotic-colored beam of light was emanating from it. "Great wilderness, celestial prison finger. One finger imprisons heaven and earth. 2 fingers shatter mountains and rivers. 5 fingers move heaven and earth." The immense essence energy pillar shot straight into the clouds, ripping through the void. 5 massive fingers, as if they had emerged from ancient times, hovered silently in the sky, exuding an aura of timelessness and eternity. This was the first time Lin Dong had ever unleashed all 5 fingers of the Great Wilderness Celestial Prison Finger at once, and he was using essence energy to condense them. The sheer force was enough to make the entire sky tremble. On the city wall, countless gazes were fixed on the ancient giant fingers suspended above Lin Dong's head, eyes filled with intense shock. Under such a powerful martial technique, even some nirvana experts felt a sense of impending doom. Battle intent surged in Lin Dong's eyes. After advancing to the half-step nirvana stage and leveraging his heavenly talisman master abilities, he could finally unleash the Great Wilderness Celestial Prison Finger to its fullest potential. The 5 fingers hung in the air. Lin Dong swung his arms fiercely, and the ancient fingers shot forward in a chain, their terrifying impact seemingly distorting even the fabric of reality. Boom! 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 A series of deep, explosive sounds echoed continuously beneath the giant fingers. Then, under countless breathless gazes, the ancient fingers finally collided violently with the mountain. Boom! A deafening crash, like thunder from the heavens, resounded throughout the land, shaking the very ground beneath it. The first giant finger shattered upon contact with the mountain. The second finger followed suit, slamming directly into the mountain. In Shi Xian's cold, mocking gaze, the 3 ancient fingers lasted only a dozen seconds under the mountain's oppressive force before they completely exploded. This sight caused quite a stir among the onlookers. While Lin Dong's martial arts display was impressive, its power seemed not as formidable as they had imagined. However, despite the murmurs of surprise from the crowd, Lin Dong's expression remained unchanged. Each finger of the Great Wilderness Celestial Prison Finger possessed a distinctly different level of power. The 5th finger in particular underwent a qualitative transformation. Celebrating now would be premature. And indeed, just as Lin Dong anticipated, following the explosion of the 4th finger, the oldest and most solid 5th finger finally descended with a thunderous crash, striking the peculiar rune atop the mountain. Boom! The mountain, which had been advancing with unstoppable force, came to an abrupt halt. The boiling primordial energy in the atmosphere seemed to freeze along with the cold smirk on Shi Xian's face. 2 colossal entities stood locked in a standoff in the sky, with waves of terrifying energy radiating outward. Even nirvana experts felt a sense of dread from these waves. Merging Lin Dong's half-step nirvana stage primordial energy with the spiritual power of a heavenly talisman master, the power of the 5th finger of the Great Wilderness Celestial Prison Finger was astonishing, even to Lin Dong himself. Break! Taking a deep breath, Lin Dong's gaze suddenly sharpened, and a low shout rumbled from his throat. As if in response to Lin Dong's command, The ancient and refined fifth finger burst forth with radiant light, its numerous ancient patterns glowing brilliantly. An overwhelming and fearless aura began to spread, as if challenging the very heavens and earth. This aura seemed to suggest that it was transcending even the martial arts of creation. Shi Xian's pupils narrowed as he watched. He saw the rune atop the mountain begin to disintegrate. Finally, with a thunderous crash, the massive mountain was shattered to pieces by the force of the final giant finger. The explosion of the mountain caused the ancient giant finger to dim considerably. Yet the residual force still rumbled toward Shi Xian. The ferocious energy waves forced Shi Xian back several steps before he could dissipate the ancient giant finger. A hush fell over the sky. Countless eyes were fixed on the shattered mountain and the retreating Shi Xian. Moments later, gasps could be heard from the city wall. What powerful martial arts! What an extraordinary energy! Shi Xian steadied himself with difficulty, his hand trembling slightly. Deep in his eyes, a deep greed began to emerge. The martial arts Lin Dong had displayed, along with that chaotic energy, had stirred a desire even within him. Such a treasure isn't something someone like you can control. Hand it over. The air before Shi Xian exploded, and his figure ghosted in front of Lin Dong, reaching out directly for the spirit containment Lotus seat. It was clear he had realized that the extraordinary power of Lin Dong's martial arts was closely tied to this Lotus seat. He intended to seize the Lotus seat. In an instant, Shi Xian's figure appeared in front of Lin Dong. Instead of attacking Lin Dong, he reached straight for the spirit containment Lotus seat. It was evident that he planned to forcibly take it. Shi Xian's move did not go unnoticed by Lin Dong. His gaze instantly turned cold. With a sudden step forward, a violent surge of primordial energy erupted around him, radiating a blinding light that condensed into a colossal luminous elephant. Heaven-crushing holy elephant charge. A massive, radiant elephant exuded a terrifying aura, charging forward with an earth-shaking force, aiming directly at Shi Xian in front of it. Bang! Bang! The air erupted violently under the immense impact. Shi Xian's eyes narrowed slightly, his gaze flickering before hardening into a cold resolve. He ignored Lin Dong's assault completely, his hand unwaveringly reaching for the Lotus seat. He was intensely coveting the seat's ability to merge two distinct energies. If he could obtain it, it would undoubtedly become a powerful weapon in his arsenal. As for Lin Dong's attack, though ferocious, Shi Xian, having endured a nirvana tribulation, wasn't particularly concerned. In his view, even if he took Lin Dong's blow head-on, the latter would still be unable to harm him. This was his confidence as a first nirvana stage expert. Seeing Shi Xian blatantly disregard his attack and still reach for the Lotus seat, Lin Dong's eyes turned icy. In the next instant, the radiant elephant, carrying an overwhelming force, crashed into Shi Xian's body. Clang! At the moment of impact, Shi Xian's body emitted a sharp sound, like metal clashing against metal. A golden glow surged wildly within him, forcibly resisting the brutal force. Under this intense impact, Shi Xian's outstretched hand slowed increasingly. Finally, it froze just a foot away from the Lotus seat. Get lost! Lin Dong shouted coldly. His body erupted in a dazzling golden light at this moment. The light quickly expanded, and in an instant, the radiant elephant transformed into a giant golden elephant, its blinding glow piercing the eyes. A more violent crash resounded. Shi Xian, whose fingers were about to touch the Lotus seat, was sent flying backward. He staggered back several steps in midair before finally stabilizing himself. His face turned exceptionally pale. Clearly, Lin Dong managing to repel him head-on was beyond his expectations. However, despite taking Lin Dong's fierce attack head-on, Shi Xian remained as vigorous as ever, showing no signs of weakness. This left Lin Dong secretly alarmed. Indeed, a cultivator who had survived a nirvana tribulation was formidable. Such an impact would have caused any other nirvana stage cultivator to suffer severe internal injuries. Yet this guy seemed completely unfazed. Steadying himself, Xian was visibly displeased by this series of setbacks, a cold glint flickering in his eyes. Suddenly, he extended a finger, pointing at Lin Dong from afar. Brilliant golden light, infused with violent primordial energy, gathered rapidly at Xian's fingertip, reflecting the chilling glare in his eyes. Everyone could see he was truly enraged. Vajra, sky-splitting finger. Golden light surged like a bolt of lightning. In just a few breaths, a golden beam shot out from Xian's fingertip at a speed almost imperceptible to the naked eye. The golden beam was incredibly sharp, leaving a faint golden trail in the void as it cut through the air. Lin Dong's pupils contracted sharply as he watched the golden beam streak toward him. At this moment, he sensed a profound sense of danger. Instantly, he rotated his palm, forming a black hole in his hand. The golden beam streaked forward, but just as Lin Dong was about to strike, it made a sudden, uncanny swerve. Instead of heading directly toward Lin Dong, it veered sharply and slammed into the Lotus seat in front of him. Only then did Lin Dong realize that Xian's target wasn't him, but the spirit containment Lotus seat. This guy was ruthless. If he couldn't seize it, he would destroy it. This move was undeniably vicious and caught Lin Dong off guard. When he saw the golden beam abruptly change direction, it was already too late for him to react. Boom! The golden beam struck the Lotus seat with full force. The violent and fierce impact spread instantly. Under such a powerful assault, the spirit containment Lotus seat began to crack, one fissure after another appearing under Lin Dong's shocked gaze. The Lotus seat wasn't a spiritual artifact. Its function was limited to merging spiritual energy and primordial energy. Hence, when facing Xian's full-strength attack, it couldn't withstand the onslaught and began to crumble. Cracks spread swiftly, and finally, under Lin Dong's darkened gaze, it exploded into countless shards of light, scattering everywhere. The spirit containment Lotus seat was utterly destroyed by Xian. From a distance, Xian coldly watched this scene unfold. Though there was a hint of regret in his heart, it was still better than letting Lin Dong acquire such a treasure. However, amidst the scattered shards of light, neither Lin Dong nor anyone else noticed that, at the moment the Lotus seat shattered, a tiny beam of light shot out from the myriad of shards. Because Lin Dong was positioned behind the seat, he was the first to come into contact with this beam. At the moment of contact, the faint beam of light vanished instantly without causing any disturbance. So much so that even Lin Dong didn't notice it. Lin Dong's expression darkened. He clearly hadn't expected to be outmaneuvered by Xian, who destroyed the spirit containment Lotus seat right in front of him. Lin Dong was well aware of the importance of the Lotus seat. The ability to merge different energies was not something to be taken lightly. Even little Mink, with his discerning eye, found such a feat challenging. This alone spoke volumes about the preciousness of the spirit containment Lotus seat, and now it had been destroyed by Xian. This was no ordinary loss. Bastard! Lin Dong's eyes turned sinister, and a surge of spiritual energy, fueled by his anger, suddenly erupted, filling the entire sky. Fierce winds roared, dark clouds gathered, and thunder rumbled across the heavens. What immense spiritual energy! Is this guy really just a newly advanced heavenly talisman master? How could he possess such formidable spiritual power? Feeling the overwhelming spiritual energy in the air, the crowd on the city walls erupted in astonishment. Even Xian's eyes narrowed slightly. Devouring Thunderpalm, thunder, like a massive silver serpent, suddenly streaked down from the sky. Under Lin Dong's command, it transformed into a pitch-black Thunderpalm, which then came crashing down ferociously toward Xian. Seeing the enormous black Thunderpalm hurtling toward him, Xian dared not be too careless. From that Thunderpalm, he sensed an extremely bizarre aura, which made him wary of underestimating it. Instantly, he mobilized his primordial energy, forming a giant hand that clashed fiercely with the Thunderpalm. Boom! 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 In the sky, one Thunderpalm after another roared forth, colliding with Xian's attacks. The deafening explosions echoed continuously through the heavens. On the city walls, the spectators watched the fierce battle between the two, clicking their tongues in awe. They were clearly surprised that Lin Dong could hold his own against Xian for so long without losing ground. Of course, those with keen eyesight could tell that if this battle dragged on, Xian would inevitably win. After all, no matter how you looked at it, he was someone who had survived in Nirvana tribulation. In terms of the strength of his primordial energy, he was naturally far superior to Lin Dong. Boom! With another solid collision, Lin Dong was forced back several steps. He then looked coldly at Xian, who was smirking in the distance. Lin Dong, your combat ability is indeed beyond my expectations, but as I said, today you won't escape. Xian pointed to the light net spreading across the sky. The formation had sealed off the entire area. Lin Dong's fierce resistance was nothing more than a fleeting display. Soon, he would tire, and when that time came, subduing him would be a breeze. Lin Dong's eyes narrowed. Just as he was about to retort with a cold laugh, Little Mink's slightly anxious voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Lin Dong, we need to leave now. Something seems off within your body. Upon hearing Little Mink's voice, Lin Dong's heart jolted. Though he was puzzled, he trusted Little Mink. He nodded, then glanced at Xian with a smile, saying, Do you really think these things can stop me? Xian squinted his eyes, sneering. What? More bold words from you? It's not exactly boasting, Lin Dong replied calmly. But I just wanted to let you know, all your efforts here are wasted. I won't forget that you destroyed my Lotus seat. Next time we meet, I'll make sure you pay for it properly. With that, Lin Dong clenched his hand, and an ancient key appeared in his grasp. Ancient key. Seeing the key, Xian's pupils contracted sharply. Sensing the danger, he quickly extended his hand. A massive primordial energy hand shot out, grabbing fiercely toward Lin Dong. No need to see me off. I'll gladly accept these 1,000,000 Nirvana pills today. As for other matters, be careful the next time we meet. Lin Dong merely chuckled in response to Xian's attack. The key in his hand suddenly emitted a burst of light, enveloping his figure. In the next moment, his form vanished from the sky in a most bizarre manner. The giant hand swooped down, but grasped only empty air. Staring at the now empty sky, Xian's face turned an ashen shade of fury. Outside the demonic rock city, the sky instantly cleared. On the city walls, the crowd stared blankly at the spot where Lin Dong had mysteriously disappeared, evidently not expecting him to simply leave like that. A silence hung over the city walls for a moment, and then a wave of gazes filled with schadenfreude turned towards Xian, whose face was dark with anger. Today, the demonic rock dynasty had mobilized in full force, even sending Xian, a powerful expert of the first Nirvana stage, into action. Yet, despite their efforts, Lin Dong had managed to escape with 1,000,000 Nirvana pills. This turn of events was akin to a heavy slap across the face of the demonic rock dynasty, twice, and resoundingly so. High in the air, Xian could sense the mocking stares, which made his already livid face even more ashen. At this moment, the light net formation in the sky began to fade. Experts from the demonic rock dynasty flew in from all directions, casting nervous glances at Xian, whose expression was now as fierce as a predator ready to pounce. They dared not breathe too loudly. Spread the word. Whoever captures Lin Dong and brings me his head will not only get the 1,000,000 Nirvana pills he carries, but also an additional 500,000 Nirvana pills from my demonic rock dynasty. Xian's chilling gaze swept over the spot where Lin Dong had vanished. His voice, icy and severe, echoed across the sky and reached the ears of those on the city walls. Wow! As Xian's words fell, a surge of greed flashed in countless eyes. The total reward now amounted to a staggering 1.5 million Nirvana pills. For whoever could claim this fortune, advancing to the Nirvana stage would no longer be a worry about a lack of Nirvana chi. This bounty was indeed madness. The exclamation spread like waves, quickly engulfing the entire city. The vast majority of people were shocked by the immense amount of Nirvana pills, and soon, their eyes turned red with desire. However, some more cautious individuals quietly shook their heads. 1.5 million Nirvana pills was undoubtedly tempting, but Lin Dong was no easy target. Moreover, if he could escape unscathed from the heavy blockade of the demonic rock dynasty, capturing him would be no simple task. These Nirvana pills would not be easily earned. Of course, those with such rationality were in the minority. The lure of 1.5 million Nirvana pills was enough to drive many to madness. Watching the city erupt in excitement, a cold sneer crossed Shi Xian's face. He muttered sinisterly to himself, "Dare to offend my demonic rock dynasty? I'll make sure you find no place to stand in this ancient battlefield, Lin Dong. Let's see how long you can run like a stray dog." While Shi Xian issued the bounty on Lin Dong, the latter had already hidden within the space of the ancient key. As he entered this space, the ancient key once again slipped into the void, making it impossible for even someone like Shi Xian to detect. Inside the key space, it was still the same black stone plaza, empty and lifeless. Lin Dong landed on the plaza, and with a flick of his sleeve, Little Yin darted out, followed by Little Mink. "What's going on?" Lin Dong asked, frowning at Little Mink. "See for yourself." Little Mink's paw scratched his face, his expression slightly odd. Noticing Little Mink's strange look, Lin Dong's heart skipped a beat. His mind immediately sank into his body, and after a thorough search, he finally discovered the source of the problem. Above his energy core, a patch of light had mysteriously appeared. Within this light, faint lines were spreading out, forming what seemed to be a small, extremely intricate light array. Ancient, obscure. This aura caused Lin Dong's heart to sink heavily. That was Lin Dong's first impression of the formation. Staring at this formation, Lin Dong was stunned for a good while, clearly unable to understand how this thing had suddenly appeared inside his body. Moreover, what surprised Lin Dong the most was that, for some reason, he felt a strange sense of familiarity with this intricate and complex formation. Lin Dong frowned as he carefully observed the light array. After a while, his expression finally changed. He noticed that as the array hovered, primordial energy from his energy core below continuously flowed out, eventually being absorbed by the formation. This realization made Lin Dong's heart jolt. This damned thing was stealing his primordial energy. Anger surged within him. With a thought, a torrent of primordial energy roared out, crashing fiercely into the light array. But no matter how hard he attacked, the array remained unshaken. On the contrary, it seemed to intensify its absorption, prompting Lin Dong to quickly stop his reckless actions. "What is this thing?" After trying a few methods without success, Lin Dong could only withdraw his focus from within his body and look at Little Mink, his expression somewhat grim. "If I'm not mistaken, this is a unique formation hidden within the spirit containment Lotus seat. It's precisely because of its presence that the seat could merge two different types of energy," Little Mink mused. "This damned formation is absorbing my primordial energy." Lin Dong gritted his teeth. If he let this continue, how was he supposed to cultivate? Although the formation didn't seem to be absorbing a lot, it was precisely this slow, persistent absorption that cut to the bone. So this thing needed to be dealt with. This formation is not simple. I observed it earlier. It has a rather mystical ability to merge, Little Mink said slowly. Lin Dong rolled his eyes. That's obvious. He had been using the spirit containment Lotus seat to merge his primordial and spiritual energies, creating a unique and powerful form of refined energy. This isn't the kind of merging you're thinking of. It's a more complex and obscure fusion. For instance, merging two or more different types of energy together, Little Mink continued, a hint of surprise evident in his eyes. Clearly, even he was astonished by such an ability. Lin Dong paused for a moment. When he realized what this implied, he couldn't help but grin slightly before feeling a bit apprehensive. This formation was indeed strange, and he wasn't sure whether having it in his body was a blessing or a curse. You have three types of energy within you: primordial energy, spiritual energy, and the devouring power of the devouring ancestral talisman. If you could control this formation, you might be able to merge all three types of energy. Using such a merged power to execute martial arts would undoubtedly result in tremendous might, Little Mink suggested. That does sound good, but this formation is obviously not easy to handle. I tried earlier, but to no avail. It just keeps absorbing my primordial energy, Lin Dong replied with a wry smile. With your current abilities, it's indeed impossible to shake this formation. You need something that can suppress it. Only then will it obediently serve you, Little Mink remarked, displaying his seasoned wisdom. Lin Dong frowned. This light array was clearly not a simple artifact, and its origin might be quite significant. Suppressing it might not be an easy task. This formation must be the work of a super powerful being. An ordinary person who acquired it might not have any other means, but you're different, Little Mink chuckled, pointing to Lin Dong's head and his palm. Though Lin Dong was momentarily stunned by the mention of a super powerful being, he quickly regained his composure. Clenching his hands slightly, he said, "You mean the devouring ancestral talisman and the stone talisman?" Exactly. No matter the origin of this formation, the devouring ancestral talisman and the mysterious stone talisman are more than capable of suppressing it. Little Mink nodded. After all, the devouring ancestral talisman is one of the 8 great ancestral talismans in the world, born of heaven and earth with the power to devour all. The mysterious stone talisman also has an extraordinary origin, one even Little Mink couldn't decipher back in the day. With these 2 divine artifacts at your command, it doesn't matter who created this formation. It would be hard-pressed to resist. Seeing Little Mink's confidence, Lin Dong felt a quiet sigh of relief. Without further delay, he immediately sat cross-legged and said in a low voice, "Then let's begin." "All right." Little Mink nodded slightly, smiling. This could be a blessing in disguise. If you manage to suppress and control this formation, it might greatly benefit you in the future. Lin Dong nodded, his eyes burning with determination. His fists slowly clenched. He was curious to see just how powerful this formation could be. No matter who created this thing, now that it was inside his body, it would have to submit to his control.